Hello and welcome to a new video about the Roman Empire. And today we will talk about this very interesting question: were the Roman racists? Well, many do say they were not racist, and I would absolutely follow that statement. They were not looking at any particular race, for example. If we look now at the Europeans in the colonizing times, saying like, yeah, you're black, you are a slave. They basically said like, you are black, you can be a slave. You're Syrian, you can be a slave. You are white, you can be a slave. You're from the Germanic tribes, you can be a slave. Britannic tribes, you can be a slave. There was not really a difference for them. They really kind of looked down on everyone. You could actually say they hated everyone that is not Roman. Well, we have to exclude there maybe the Greek, because many Romans did look up to the Greeks, especially at the start of the empire, and also in the Republican times, they kind of saw the Greeks as kind of something on their level and sometimes even superior. There was always this hate-love relationship between the Romans and the Greeks. Some quite looked down on the Greeks, but many also looked up to the Greeks because of their cultural achievements. And also at the start of the Roman Republic, for example, for the Greek military achievements and the expansion. They were a very, very big culture, you can say, because it was not really like the Greek Empire, but it were many city-states that had also colonies all around the Mediterranean, really at the coast. They were kind of the biggest population in the Mediterranean. So it's important to note that the Romans didn't care where their slaves came from. They could be everywhere around the globe, or at least in their known world. They were fine with you're a slave, you're a slave, you're a slave. They looked down on people. However, Romans could not be slaves, and this is not actually something special in that time. It was kind of for every culture the same. For example, the Celtics also looked down on everyone else. They thought, yeah, we are the best. That was very common during that time, that every people basically looked down on the other people. So it was nothing really special. It was just very, for the time, normal. So while the Romans actually kind of respected the gods of other people, for example, the Germanic gods, they kind of respected them. They said, yeah, they exist for sure as well. They are not as great as our gods, but they still exist. You can believe in them. That's totally fine. They respected them. They kind of looked down on cultural traits. For example, wearing trousers, like the Easterners did, or for example, also the Germans did. They really looked down on that. They were like, they will wear trousers, they are uncivilized. They kind of saw that as very uncivilized and unmanly to wear trousers. So as final conclusion, we can say the Romans weren't racist in the sense we use the word today. The only thing you could say, if you want to say they are racist, you have to say they are racist against everyone and hated everyone apart from their own. So that's like the two options: saying they are not racist because they hated everyone apart from their own, or you could say they were racist because they saw themselves as the best and hated everyone else. But this was not really something special at that time. Kind of every people did that. So you can only call them really racist if you want to, out of today's perspective. However, from perspective of the people back then, they were totally normal. This is very important to note, because we often kind of draw conclusions from our times and kind of put them on the people from that time. And that's like where we say, oh, they were very brutal, they were very racist, but in reality they were quite normal for their times, and no one in their times would actually say, oh yes, they are very brutal or very racist. That kind of didn't exist back then. So always watch out and look at the time they lived in. Were they especially brutal or especially racist at that time, or were they quite normal, like all other people. I think that's like kind of a better solution than just looking at them from today's time and saying, yeah, they were racist. They hated them, they were racist. No, I think it is more look at that time and see, oh, they are quite normal like all the other people. They were not racist. They were just normal. Every time, with changing times, we also have kind of changing moralities, etc. So we see the things very different from people back then or people from 100 years ago. So how could we judge them for being normal at their time? Maybe 200 years, people will judge us, for example, as super racist out of any reason, or super brutal. And for our times, we are just normal people. So always keep that in mind. I hope you liked the video. I hope you could learn something, and I wish you a good day. Bye for now.